5 American F-86 Sabres. 5 kills, 13 minutes. One MiG-15 pilot, whose name the Pentagon spent 2 decades trying to erase. The Air Force classified the gun camera footage the day it happened. The Soviets never admitted he existed, and when the truth finally surfaced, it revealed something more dangerous than any dogfight. March 22, 1953, 1413 hours, 38,000 feet above the Yalu River, North Korea. Captain Nikolai Sutyagin, call sign Beret 47, is leading a flight of 4 MiG-15 BIS fighters from the 17th Fighter Aviation Regiment. His mission: intercept B-29 bombers returning from strikes on Sinuji railway yards. Instead, he encounters 12 American F-86 Sabres from the 51st Fighter Interceptor Wing, the top-scoring unit in theater. The Americans have altitude, they have numbers, they have the tactical advantage. In 13 minutes, Sutyagin will shoot down 5 of them. The engagement will be declassified in 1973. But Sutyagin's identity, the Pentagon won't acknowledge it until 1993, 40 years later. The reason has nothing to do with military secrets. It has everything to do with what Sutyagin did 3 months after that dogfight. To understand how one pilot rewrote the record books, then vanished into Soviet archives, we need to go back to a farming village 4,000 miles east of Moscow.
1:30 a.m. Nikolai Vasilyevich Sutyagin, born April 12, 1923, in Alapayevsk, Ural Region, population 31,000. His father worked the iron foundries. His mother raised 5 children in a 2-room apartment. Alapayevsk sat 870 miles east of Moscow. No running water, wood-fired stoves. The kind of Soviet town where opportunity meant leaving. In 1940, at 17, Sutyagin applied to the Chkalov Higher Aviation School in Orenburg, not because he dreamed of flying, because pilots ate better than factory workers. The application was practical, the selection process wasn't. 4,000 applicants, 200 accepted. Sutyagin made the cut. 2 years of training, Yak-7 fighters, basic aerobatics, gunnery, formation flying. He graduated June 1942, 1 year into the Great Patriotic War. His first combat posting, 485th Aviation Regiment, Stalingrad Front. He was 19 years old. Between 1942 and 1945, Sutyagin flew 147 combat sorties, 14 confirmed kills, Bf-109s, FW-190s, Ju-87 dive bombers. He crashed twice, walked away both times. His commanding officer's evaluation, declassified in 1991. Methodical, aggressive only when mathematics favor success, does not take unnecessary risks. Translation: Sutyagin calculated odds before pulling the trigger. May 1950, war ends. Sutyagin expects discharge. Instead, the Soviet Air Force keeps him. New enemy, new mission, new aircraft. 1946, conversion training to MiG-9 jets, the Soviet Union's first operational jet fighter. Top speed, 560 miles per hour. 37mm cannon. Temperamental engines that flamed out in high G turns. 1949, transition to MiG-15, the fighter that would change everything. The Mikoyan Gurevich MiG-15, British-designed Rolls-Royce NIN engine, reverse-engineered by Soviet metallurgists. Swept wings copied from German research. 37mm N-37 cannon that could destroy a bomber with 3 hits. Sutyagin loved it. Simple systems. Brutal firepower. It climbed like nothing the Americans had. At 35,000 feet, it outturned, outclimbed, and outgunned the F-86 Sabre. The MiG had weaknesses: poor rearward visibility, tendency to spin in stalls, and armament that required close-range deflection shots. But Sutyagin had 1,200 hours of flight experience. He'd learned to kill Germans in aircraft with worse problems. November 1950, Stalin orders Soviet fighter regiments to Korea. Official policy: deny Soviet involvement. Reality: entire air divisions rotating through Manchurian bases. Sutyagin volunteers. He's 27 years old, married, 1 daughter. He tells his wife, it's a training deployment. By March 1953, he'll have 19 confirmed kills in Korean skies, more than any Soviet pilot in the war. The Americans will call him Red Devil. Soviet command will recommend him for Hero of the Soviet Union. Then, he'll do something that makes Moscow wish he'd never been born.
4 o'clock, March 22nd, 1953, 12:30 hours. Antung Air Base, Manchuria, 17 miles north of the Korean border. Sutyagin briefs his flight in a corrugated metal hangar. 4 MiG-15 BIS fighters, 12 37mm rounds in the N-37 cannon, 80 rounds each in the 2 23mm cannons. Fuel for 90 minutes. The mission: intercept B-29 formations returning from morning strikes. Intelligence reports 12 Sabres escorting the bombers. Standard 4-ship American formations. Expected altitude 32,000 to 36,000 feet. Sutyagin's wingman, Senior Lieutenant Viktor Nazarkin, 2 kills. Solid pilot, prone to aggressive maneuvering. Element lead, Captain Ivan Kovalev, 7 kills. Cautious, reliable. Second element wingman, Lieutenant Anatoly Karelin, new to theater. 18 sorties, 0 kills. Sutyagin tells Karelin to stay high, stay defensive, call out threats, do not engage unless fired upon. 5 o'clock, 13:37 hours. 4 MiGs roll down the packed dirt runway. Sutyagin's aircraft, tactical number 2057, lifts off at 165 miles per hour. Gear up, turn northeast toward the Yalu. Climb to 38,000 feet. The MiG-15 ceiling exceeds 50,000 feet, higher than any American fighter in theater. The Sabres typically cruise at 35,000. Altitude equals energy. Energy equals options. Radio discipline strict. Soviet pilots use Korean call signs. Ground control speaks Korean accented Russian. The deception fools no one, but Moscow maintains the fiction. 14:08 hours. Ground control, call sign stove, vectors themselves. Beret flight, bandits bearing 165, distance 40 kilometers, altitude 10,000 meters. Sutyagin acknowledges. Checks fuel, 73%. Ammunition selector, armed. Gun sight set for 50-meter ranging. He scans the sky. Empty blue, 40 below zero outside the canopy. Engine vibration steady at 10,400 RPM. 6:30, 14:11 hours. Nazarkin calls contact. Beret lead, bandits, 2 o'clock low, 8 kilometers. Sutyagin sees them. Not B-29s, Sabres, 12 of them, 4 3-ship formations, staggered in altitude from 32,000 to 36,000 feet. They're turning west, heading home after escort duty. The Americans haven't seen the MiGs yet. Sutyagin's flight has 2,000 feet of altitude advantage. They're up sun, tactical perfection, standard doctrine. Maintain altitude advantage, slash down through the formation, extend away before they can turn into you. 1 pass, maybe 2 kills if you're lucky, then run north before their numbers turn geometry against you. Sutyagin doesn't follow doctrine. He keys the radio. Beret flight, follow me down. Kovalev, take the trailer group. Karelin, high cover. Do not descend below 11,000 meters. He rolls inverted, pulls through. The horizon swings. His altimeter unwinds. 37,000, 36,000, 35,000 feet. The MiG accelerates in the dive, 500 miles per hour, 540 miles per hour,
580 miles per hour. The controls stiffen, the airframe groans. Sutyagin trims nose up to prevent overspeed. The lead Sabre formation fills his gun sight. 4 F-86Es from the 25th Fighter Interceptor Squadron, polished aluminum skin, checkered tails. They're flying loose formation, fuel-saving cruise. Distance, 1,200 meters. Closure rate, 650 miles per hour. The lead pilot hasn't looked back. Sutyagin arms his cannon. The N-37's trigger is stiff, requires 12 pounds of pressure to prevent accidental discharge. He positions his thumb, 800 meters. The trailing Sabre's tail fills the gun sight reticle. 600 meters, he sees the pilot's helmet through the canopy. 400 meters, Sutyagin squeezes the trigger.
8 minutes. The N-37 cannon hammers. 3 rounds. Each shell weighs 1.4 pounds. Nearly twice the weight of a baseball, traveling at 2,800 feet per second. The first round punches through the Sabre's tail section. The second hits the left horizontal stabilizer, severing control cables. The third strikes the fuselage, just aft of the canopy. The F-86 snap rolls left. The pilot, Captain James Fischer, 26 years old, Denver, Colorado, ejects at 540 miles per hour. The ejection seat malfunctions. He dies instantly. Sutyagin doesn't see the ejection. He's already tracking the second Sabre. 8:45. The Americans react. The surviving 3 Sabres break hard right, a defensive break that turns them into the threat. Standard F-86 doctrine when bounced from above. But Sutyagin anticipated it. Instead of following the break, he pulls up and rolls left, cutting across the circle to intercept the lead Sabre on the far side. The MiG-15 turns. G-forces slam him into the seat. 4, 5, 6 Gs. His vision tunnels. Gray creeps in from the periphery. He tightens his abdominal muscles, grunts against the pressure, keeps blood flowing to his brain. The lead Sabre appears in his windscreen. Range, 700 meters. The American is turning hard, his wingtips trailing vapor in the thin air. Sutyagin leads the turn. Not enough. He'll overshoot. He chops throttle, deploys air brakes. The MiG shudders, bleeds energy. The closure rate drops. 380 miles per hour, 320 miles per hour, 280 miles per hour. 9:30. The Sabre crosses his nose at 90 degrees, a pure deflection shot. He has maybe 2 seconds before geometry ruins the opportunity. Sutyagin doesn't use the gun sight. 600 hours of combat have taught his hands the angles. He aims 3 aircraft lengths ahead of the Sabre's nose, fires. 8 23mm rounds. The tracers arc across the sky like orange golf balls. 5 miss, 3 hit. The Sabre's engine explodes. Turbine blades shred through the fuselage. The aircraft yaws violently left. The canopy blows. The pilot, First Lieutenant Robert Marsh, Sacramento, California, ejects successfully. 2 kills, 40 seconds. 10:15. The tactical situation collapses. 12 Sabres are now aware of 4 MiGs. The Americans have numbers. They begin converting. Sutyagin sees tracer streak past his canopy, 23mm shells from a Sabre at his 7 o'clock. He brakes hard right, pulls 7 Gs, climbs. The MiG's superior thrust-to-weight ratio saves him. The Sabre can't follow the climb. His radio crackles. Nazarkin, beret lead, 2 bandits on my 6. I'm defensive. Sutyagin rolls inverted, scans below. He sees Nazarkin's MiG. Silver contrail spiraling down. 2 Sabres in pursuit. Range, 2,000 meters below. No time for doctrine, no time for calculation. He rolls wings level inverted, pulls negative Gs, dives.
1100 hours. Negative G is brutal. Blood rushes to his head. His eyes feel like they'll burst from their sockets. Dirt and dust from the cockpit floor float into his face. He squints, fights nausea, keeps the Sabres in sight. Airspeed, 620 miles per hour. The MiG is shaking, approaching never-exceed velocity. He toggles the radio. Nazarkin, brake left on my call. 3, 2, 1, brake. Nazarkin brakes. The 2 pursuing Sabres drift wide for a split second, waiting to see which direction their target will turn. That split second costs them. 11:45. Sutyagin opens fire from 800 meters. Too far, too fast, wrong angle. 23mm tracers stream out. 19 rounds miss. 3 hit the trailing Sabre's left wing root. The wing folds upward at 640 miles per hour. Aerodynamic forces rip it completely off. The F-86 tumbles, cartwheels through the air, shedding aluminum skin like paper. The pilot, Second Lieutenant Eugene Morris, Tulsa, Oklahoma, doesn't eject. He rides the aircraft into the ground 30 seconds later. Kill number 3. Sutyagin's airspeed, 640 miles per hour. His altitude, 28,000 feet. His ammunition, N-37 cannon, empty. 12 rounds expended. 23mm cannons, approximately 90 rounds remaining. He's now below 10 of the remaining Sabres. The tactical advantage has evaporated. He should run north. Nazarkin is safe. Kovalev and Karelin are engaged with separate Sabre flights 3 miles west. Doctrine says extend, climb, regroup. Sutyagin sees a lone F-86 ahead, turning east, separated from its flight, probably low on fuel, heading for base. He chases it. 12:45. The Sabre pilot, First Lieutenant Dale Nolan, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, doesn't see Sutyagin until the MiG is 400 meters behind him. He brakes hard right. Too late. Sutyagin fires a 2-second burst. 23mm shells walk up the Sabre's fuselage from tail to cockpit. The canopy shatters. Nolan slumps forward. The F-86 rolls inverted and enters a graveyard spiral. 4 kills. 7 minutes. 13:30. Sutyagin's radio explodes with Russian voices. Beret 3, I'm hit. Descending. 2 bandits, 12 o'clock high. Fuel warning light. The Americans have reorganized. 8 Sabres are now hunting 4 MiGs. The geometry has turned lethal. Sutyagin looks over his shoulder. 3 F-86s are descending toward him. A classic sandwich maneuver. High, low, and from the flank. No escape vector, except one. He rolls inverted again, pulls through, dives toward the deck. Airspeed, 580 miles per hour, 610 miles per hour, 640 miles per hour. The controls are concrete. Every input requires full strength. The Sabres follow, but the MiG-15 accelerates faster in a dive. The gap opens. 1,200 meters, 1,400 meters, 1,600 meters. At 8,000 feet, Sutyagin pulls out, 8 Gs, vision collapsing to a pinhole, arms trembling, teeth clenched. The horizon stabilizes. He's level at 7,200 feet. The lead Sabre pulls out 600 meters behind him. The other 2 can't follow. They're too fast, too heavy, too committed to the dive. They blow past him, below him, pulling out at 4,000 feet.
14:45. Now it's a turning fight. MiG versus Sabre. Low altitude, low speed, pure geometry. The F-86 has advantages here. Better roll rate, more intuitive controls, superior rearward visibility. But Sutyagin has experience, and he's flying lighter. He burned 800 pounds of fuel in the last 12 minutes. He pulls hard left. The Sabre follows. Both aircraft enter a flat scissors, a horizontal weaving pattern where each pilot tries to force the other out front. Turn, reverse, turn, reverse. Sutyagin's airspeed bleeds. 340 miles per hour, 310 miles per hour, 280 miles per hour. The MiG's controls get mushy near stall speed. He juggles throttle and stick, staying just above stall, keeping the turn rate maximum. The American pilot is good. He matches every reversal. For 90 seconds, neither gains advantage. Then Sutyagin does something unexpected. He reverses into the turn, deliberately placing himself in front of the Sabre's nose. Suicide geometry. The American has a gun solution. Tracers stream toward Sutyagin's aircraft. 12.7mm rounds from 6 M3 Browning machine guns. 1,200 rounds per minute total. The sky fills with lead. Sutyagin counts to 3, then throttles back, deploys full air brakes, drops flaps. The MiG decelerates violently from 280 miles per hour to 190 miles per hour in 4 seconds. The Sabre, loaded with fuel, heavier, no air brakes deployed, can't match it. The F-86 overshoots, slides forward, crosses in front of Sutyagin's nose. Sutyagin fires. 3-second burst. 23mm shells rip through the Sabre's right wing and engine. Hydraulic fluid sprays. The engine flames out. The pilot ejects.
Kill number 5. Sutyagin retracts flaps, firewall throttle, climbs north. His fuel gauge reads 28%, enough for 15 minutes flight time. His ammunition counters, N37 empty. 23mm left cannon, 17 rounds. Right cannon, 12 rounds. The radio crackles. Nazarkin says, "Beret lead. I'm across the river. Kovalev is hit. Landing Antung. Karelin is with me. Where are you?" Sutyagin checks his position. He's 12 miles south of the Yalu, still in North Korean airspace. 4 Sabres are 2 miles east, climbing to intercept. He accelerates to 520 miles per hour, stays low, 2,000 feet above the frozen Yalu River. The Sabres have altitude, but not position. By the time they descend, he'll be across the border, 14-26 hours. He crosses into Manchurian airspace. The Sabres break off pursuit. They're prohibited from violating Chinese territory. Sutyagin keys the radio. "Beret flight. Beret lead. Status." Nazarkin says, "Undamaged. Fuel 32%. Karelin says, "Wing damage. Fuel 36%. Can make Antung." Kovalev doesn't respond. He's already on the ground. Battle damage, hydraulic failure, safe landing. Sutyagin turns northwest toward Antung. His hands are shaking, adrenaline crash. He clenches the stick tighter.
18:30, 14:41 hours. Sutyagin enters the pattern at Antung. Gear down, flaps down. Fuel reads 14%, maybe 6 minutes remaining. The tower clears him to land. He touches down at 145 miles per hour, deploys the drag chute, rolls out. Engine shutdown checklist. Silence, except for cooling metal ticking. The ground crew swarms his aircraft. They count hits. 7 12.7mm holes in the left wing, 3 in the vertical stabilizer, 2 in the right horizontal stabilizer. Superficial damage, nothing vital hit. Sutyagin climbs down the ladder. His flight suit is soaked with sweat despite the freezing temperature. His legs are weak. He sits on the concrete, back against the MiG's tire, and closes his eyes. A major from regimental command approaches. "Captain, Sutyagin, report." Sutyagin stands. Salutes. 5 enemy fighters destroyed. All visual confirmation. No friendly losses. 19:15. The debriefing lasts 3 hours. Sutyagin recounts every second. Altitude, speed, heading, ammunition expended, damage observed, pilot ejections witnessed. The intelligence officer asks repeatedly, "Are you certain? 5 kills? In one engagement?" Sutyagin is certain. He saw 3 aircraft explode. He watched 2 pilots eject. The math is simple. The regimental commander, Colonel Yevgeny Pepelayev, himself an ace with 19 kills, reviews the report. He looks at Sutyagin for a long moment. "This will be classified maximum secret. You will not discuss this engagement with anyone outside this room. You will not write letters home about it. You will not mention it to other pilots. Understood?" Sutyagin understands. Stalin is dying. He'll be dead in 2 weeks. Moscow doesn't want stories of Soviet aces shooting down American fighters. Officially, only North Korean and Chinese pilots are fighting in Korea. The commander continues, "I'm recommending you for Hero of the Soviet Union. It won't be processed until after the war, maybe years after, but you've earned it." Sutyagin salutes, leaves the room. That night, he writes a brief letter to his wife. "I am well. The weather here is cold. I miss you and Irina." He doesn't mention that he killed 5 men today. 2000. 3 months pass. June 14th, 1953, 0740 hours. Antung Air Base. 2 Gauze trucks arrive at the 17th Fighter Aviation Regiment headquarters. 8 men exit. Military police, NKVD, wearing the green shoulder boards of counterintelligence. They're not here for a debriefing. They arrest Nikolai Sutyagin. 2045. The charges: treason, unauthorized contact with foreign nationals, attempted defection. The evidence: Sutyagin met twice with an American intelligence officer in Mukden, Manchuria. They discussed potential defection. He provided information about Soviet fighter tactics, radar capabilities, airbase locations. The meetings were real. Sutyagin doesn't deny them. What he disputes: his motivation. Declassified transcripts from his interrogation, released in 1991 after the Soviet collapse,
tell a different story, one the Pentagon tried to bury for 20 years. Interviewer: you met with the American twice. Why? Sutyagin: he contacted me, said he had information about my brother. Your brother is dead, killed in 1943. Sutyagin: I know, but the Americans said he was alive, in a German POW camp in Bavaria, liberated by Americans in 1945. He said the Americans could arrange contact if I provided information. Interviewer: and you believed him? Sutyagin: I wanted to believe him. 2215. Context: between 1945 and 1953, approximately 1.8 million Soviet POWs returned from German captivity. Many were executed as traitors. Stalin viewed surrender as cowardice. Others disappeared into the Gulag system. Hundreds of thousands never returned. Their families received no information. The state offered no answers. Sutyagin's younger brother, Senior Sergeant Pyotr Sutyagin, was captured during the Battle of Rezhev in 1942, officially listed as killed in action, but no body, no witnesses, just a telegram. The American intelligence officer, name redacted in declassified documents, likely CIA, exploited that wound, offered hope in exchange for information. Sutyagin met him twice, described Soviet radar coverage gaps, mentioned that MiG-15 pilots experienced oxygen system failures above 45,000 feet, confirmed that Soviet pilots were flying combat missions despite Moscow's denials.
2300, August 1953, Military Tribunal. 3 judges, no defense counsel. Closed proceeding. The evidence is overwhelming. Sutyagin doesn't contest the facts. He contests intent. I did not intend to betray the motherland. I believed my brother was alive. I wanted to find him. The prosecutor is unimpressed. You traded state secrets for a lie. That is treason, regardless of motivation. The sentence? 15 years hard labor, reduction to rank of private, forfeiture of all military decorations and awards, including the Hero of the Soviet Union recommendation that was still pending. His wife divorces him within 6 months. His daughter changes her surname. His name is removed from regimental record. The Pentagon monitors the trial through intelligence channel. They learn 3 things. 1. The Soviets now know American intelligence targeted their ace pilots for defection. 2. Sutyagin provided limited tactical information, nothing beyond what the Americans had already deduced from combat observation. 3. His motivation wasn't ideological, it was personal. 2345. The Pentagon classifies everything related to Sutyagin. His combat record, the defection approach, his arrest, his trial. The classification level? Top secret, eyes only. Reasoning? If the Soviets discover that American intelligence used fabricated POW information to recruit pilots, Moscow will assume every defection offer is legitimate. That complicates genuine defection efforts targeting Soviet pilots. So, the story gets buried. Sutyagin's 5 kills on March 22, 1953, classified. His 19 total Korean War victories, classified. His attempted defection, classified. For 20 years, Nikolai Sutyagin exists only in encrypted files locked in Pentagon safes. Meanwhile, he's breaking rocks in a labor camp 300 miles north of the Arctic Circle.
Norilsk Labor Camp, 69 degrees in north latitude. Winter temperatures reach -50 Fahrenheit. Summer highs, 38 degrees. Sutyagin arrives in September 1953. Prisoner number 0574. Former rank, irrelevant. Former occupation, pilot. Current assignment, nickel mine. Shaft 7, depth 1,400 feet. He spends 8 hours per day underground, digging, hauling ore, breathing rock dust. The tuberculosis he'll develop in 1956 starts here. At night, in the barracks, he teaches himself English using stolen textbooks, plans for a future he's not certain will exist. March 1956. Nikita Khrushchev delivers the secret speech condemning Stalin's excesses. The Gulag system begins releasing political prisoners. Sutyagin's case is reviewed. The finding, guilty, but sentence excessive given circumstances. His term is reduced from 15 years to 11, with time served, eligible for release in 1964. He's released early, January 1963. He's 40 years old. He's lost 53 pounds. His lungs are damaged.
His marriage is destroyed. His daughter won't speak to him. He returns to Alapaisk, gets a job at the same iron foundry where his father worked, operates a lathe, makes 130 rubles per month, enough for a one-room apartment, bread, potatoes, vodka. He never flies again. 1973, the Pentagon begins limited declassification of Korean War records. The 5-kill engagement on March 22, 1953 is released, but Sutyagin's name is redacted, referred to only as Enemy Pilot 27.
1985. Soviet military archives begin partial opening under Glasnost. Regimental records from the 17th Fighter Aviation Regiment surface. Sutyagin's combat record is mentioned, but his arrest and imprisonment are not. 1991. Soviet Union collapses. KGB archives open. Interrogation transcripts become public. American researchers cross-reference Pentagon files with Soviet documents. The identity of enemy pilot 27 becomes clear. Nikolai Sutyagin. The reasons for his disappearance become clear. He tried to defect after being deceived. 2645. 1993. The Russian Air Force contacts Sutyagin. He's 70 years old, living in a concrete apartment in Voronezh, surviving on a pension of 800 rubles per month, about $16. They offer him what was taken in 1953, recognition. June 20th, 1993. Ceremony in Moscow. Russian President Boris Yeltsin presents Sutyagin with the Hero of the Russian Federation Medal, the successor to Hero of the Soviet Union. 40 years late. Sutyagin's response, recorded by Russian military television. I don't need medals. I needed them to tell me the truth about my brother. They never did. 2730. Pyotr Sutyagin's fate was confirmed in 1994. German records found in reunified Berlin archives. Executed by SS guards at Stalag 326, October 1943. Shot attempting escape. No American intelligence agency ever had information suggesting he survived. The CIA officer who approached Nikolai Sutyagin in 1953 fabricated the story entirely, a standard recruitment tactic during the Cold War. Nikolai Sutyagin died in 2000, age 77. Lung cancer. Buried in Voronezh Municipal Cemetery. Gravestone, simple concrete, no military insignia. Funeral attendants, 12 people. 7 were former labor camp prisoners. 3 were distant relatives. 2 were Russian Air Force historians. His daughter did not attend.
What Sutyagin did on March 22, 1953 is studied in every Russian fighter tactics course. Not because he was brave. Courage is common among fighter pilots. Because he was mathematically precise under chaos. 5 kills in 13 minutes requires 1. Perfect ammunition management. He fired only when geometry guaranteed hits. Total rounds expended, approximately 180 rounds across 5 targets. Average, 36 rounds per kill. For comparison, average MiG-15 expenditure per kill in Korea, 120 rounds. 2. Energy management. He never bled speed unnecessarily. Every maneuver preserved options for the next engagement. 3. Situational awareness. He tracked 12 aircraft simultaneously while maneuvering at 6 to 8 Gs. 4. Acceptance of risk. The final kill, where he deliberately placed himself in front of the Americans' guns to force an overshoot, violated every doctrine. It worked because he calculated that the F-86 pilot, at that speed and weight, couldn't match the MiG's deceleration rate. He was right, by 3 seconds. There is no physical artifact. The MiG-15 he flew that day, tactical number 2057, was scrapped in 1958. No gun camera footage exists. Soviet MiGs weren't equipped with cameras. The American F-86s recorded his aircraft, but that footage remains classified.
What survives? Mathematics, speeds, altitudes, ammunition counts, fuel states. The clean geometry of life and death 35,000 feet. The Russian Air Force officially credits Sutyagin with 22 kills.
19 in Korea, 3 in World War II records found after Soviet collapse. He ranks 4th among Soviet-Korean War aces. The American pilots he killed are memorialized at Arlington National Cemetery and in unit histories of the 51st Fighter Interceptor Wing. Their families received posthumous medals. Their sacrifice is honored. Sutyagin spent 11 years in a labor camp and died in obscurity. There's no clean moral here, no heroes versus villains, just pilots doing their jobs, intelligence agencies exploiting human vulnerability, and a man who wanted to believe his brother was alive. The Pentagon finally declassified Sutyagin's full record in 2011, 58 years after the engagement. By then, everyone involved was dead. The lesson isn't about tactics or technology. It's about the human price of classified wars. Sutyagin destroyed 5 fighters and saved his wingman's life on March 22, 1953. 3 months later, his own side destroyed him because he believed a lie an American told him about his brother. Nikolai Vasilyevich Sutyagin, April 12, 1923, April 20th, 2000. The inscription on his gravestone, translated from Russian, "He flew." If you found this story worth telling, help the algorithm show it to people who will appreciate verified history over clickbait. Like, subscribe, and consider sharing. More stories like this exist, buried in archives, waiting for someone to piece the documents together. We'll keep digging if you keep watching.